Welcome to the Well Woman Show, where we interview women executives, leaders, and entrepreneurs.
And you're listening to the Well Woman Show,
where motivated women achieve fulfillment and well-being.
You're listening to the Well Woman Show.
Take time for myself by coming to things like Well Woman Drinks.
To be accepting of myself no matter what. Step away from judgment as much as possible.
You're listening to the Well Woman Show.
You're going to be in for a good ride. I don't regret anything. Everything I've ever done, I've learned from it, one way or another, good or bad.
Being a little bit selfish for yourself, put your own oxygen mask on first and then give what's left.
I'm a woman. I would prefer to tell my own story. My story, though it's very personal, is universal.
You're listening to the Well Woman Show. And now your host, Giovanna Rossi.
Hi, Giovanna Rossi here, and welcome to another episode of the Well Woman Show, where I interview women leaders, executives, and entrepreneurs about their lives and their road to becoming and being who they are today. Are you feeling burned out or finding it hard to focus on your goals? Or are you in transition? Well, you're not alone. We all need to activate our superpowers. These are the internal strengths and abilities we all already have but don't use all the time. Superpowers can be cultivated, and they include empathy, love, intuition, courage, and more. As always, this episode is brought to you by Well Woman Life, a global community of women living our best lives. Whether it's your health, relationships, your money, or making an impact in your community and the world, Well Woman Life has you covered. You've made a commitment to not settle, to use your voice, and to live your best life. Well Woman Life offers annual memberships, workshops, and retreats to support you. Check out wellwomanlife.com/Facebook to join our growing community. Now back to the show. Hello. Giovanna Rossi here with the Well Woman Show, and I'm so excited today because I get to talk to Mary Nichols on the show, who is one of the early podcasters in the crowd, and she is going to walk us through the topic of going from hiding to showing up, and what that has meant for her and her business and in her life. And the three things that you'll learn in this episode are how to be consistent even when you doubt yourself at first. Ever been there? Also, Mary's advice on expressing yourself and the difference between opinionated and judgmental. So we get right into these topics on the show today. I can't wait for you to dive in with us. And in case you're new to the show, I'm Giovanna Rossi. I have 20 plus years in women's health and rights and social justice. And I started the Well Woman Show a few years ago when I needed to talk to other women who were successful in their careers and juggling their family life and just on the edge of burnout and, transitioning into this new role of motherhood while having had a career for years, and just everything that comes along with that and the messiness of life. And so we've created this community of badass women that we can share these stories with and support each other and give each other tips and tricks for really living our best lives and staying above the fray and not getting caught up in judgmental negativity, and really achieving what we want to achieve in our lives. So if you want to check out more, go to wellwomanlife.com, or you can join our Facebook group, which is free, to continue the conversation over there, which is just wellwomanlife.com/Facebook. Now to my interview with Mary Nichols. Welcome to the show. I'm so happy to have Mary Nichols on the Well Woman Show with me.
Hey there. Thank y'all for having me.
Yeah. So Mary, you are the CEO of FuseBox Media and FuseBox Radio. Can you tell us what that is? What are you up to?
Well, basically, FuseBox Media is the company that, there's a train. Okay. It encompasses the radio show podcast I've been doing for about 19 years now, the FuseBox Radio broadcast, and also some other ventures that we have in terms of writing, photography, and so forth. Actually founded FuseBox Radio around 2003. I started the show in 1998 as an undergraduate student at Rutgers University. Yeah. And technology and other stuff advanced. I was starting off podcasting when people were talking about, wow, that's only for corny nerds who's going to listen to things via a computer.
Right.
Slightly aging myself when MP3 players were relatively new. All that stuff. Pre-smartphone era when like a flip phone was like the hottest thing in town. And been very blessed to be able to grow with it throughout the years. Do a lot of music events, speaking, touring, stuff like that. And of course, being on the Well Woman Show today.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, so you're one of the, I would say, earlier podcasters, as you were saying. You've been doing it for 19 years. That's amazing. Why did you start that? I mean, you said you started it when you were at Rutgers University. What made you start that?
Well, basically, I started the show. It was one of those things, the radio station was literally across the street from my dorm at the time. And people who go to college, they have those like student orientation fairs and stuff like that. And I've always been super into music. So I went to the radio station's meeting one day. I was first off the music department. And then I met my mentor who I did co-hosting with for a while for their show. And I think the radio station thought I was never going to stay and do a show as long as I did. And they gave me a minute at the 2 a.m. slot, but again, my dorm was across the street. So I was like, sure, I'll do it. I can play whatever I want to play and get free music and interview different people. And funny thing is, like, I really didn't recognize that it had an impact on people. So I started getting people who were doing the night shift calling, besides college students and whatever else. Where, one or two times when I wasn't able to make it, whether it was due to being sick or class or whatever, people was like, what's going on? Why is this show not? I'm like, dang, somebody's actually listening to my ramblings while I'm playing all this different type of music. And in regards to podcasting, Podomatic made me feel old earlier this year, saying that the show is 19 years old. We've been podcasting for 11. So I got that email earlier this year, like, wow, like my podcast is literally a teenager. And in 2 years, the show is going to be able to drink. And my mother's like, where are your grandchildren? I don't have any grandchildren yet, but I'm like, well, right now my show is your grandchild. That's with my cousins and others or babies. I started the show essentially partially to see if I could do it. Since again, I had an interest in music, and in person, I kind of had to warm up before I get talkative. And it was one of those things I was like, I wanted to challenge myself on the communication level. Mm-hmm. So I started doing that, and a lot of technology started converging at the time where I was doing things like, again, I know for some younger folks, they're going to be there like, wow, you're old, and I'm not that old. I'm like in my late 30s, but mp3.com, that was just starting. CD burners were just becoming a thing. Anything remotely near a fast broadband connection didn't start until about the year I graduated from school. So certain means of communication in terms of being able to connect with folks were in flux and changing, but I was able to adapt to it. Mm. And with podcasting, it really just sounded like a cool idea. Like, oh, besides the New Jersey, New York area I was based at the time, if somebody wants to go and find the show and what people are doing and check out our list and stuff, they can. And I would have had no idea things are the way they are right now. Like, we all have smartphones just about. You can like stream a podcast now, where back in the day, I was a student to, not great employment after I graduated due to the economy. I had to learn what an RSS feed was. Yeah. I had to learn HTML code and other stuff. I had to literally try to sell people on, you can listen to the show this way. Right. Besides this other stuff. And the growth has been interesting. It's been interesting. Like, in a weird way, people don't tell you kind of the struggle of being ahead of the curve sometimes, because you look like you're a crazy person. Right. Like, this podcasting thing is it. Internet radio is awesome. Like, okay. Ain't nobody paying no attention to that,
Right. But now you're pretty happy, right? Well, actually, I wanted to ask you, what is your business model? Like, how are you able to make like a living, with this business, with FuseBox Media?
I think a lot of it is essentially being able to literally show what you do. With myself on the and my partner, I'm shout out to my partner John. We're able to be here like, here's the show that we do. You can literally check out I think on our podcast feed, at least 5 years of show archives. You can check out the type of music we play, the mixes that we do. We have separate mix archive to show things for different events. We can show all the events that we have done and are continuing doing, whether it's big public events or private events. The show in itself. Mm-hmm. Sorry.
I was just saying. So that's basically your business model is to provide events, and people pay you to do events as a DJ.
That's part of the business model on top of the other media in terms of freelance writing and freelance photography and so forth. So on the easiest end of the DJing, I can literally be here like, well, you can listen to some of our shows and see what's going on. On the speaking and interview ends, we have archives for people to go ahead and listen to. I actually got a TEDx speaking engagement around 2012 because I was actually reaching out to them about a potential music situation. And the organizers at the time were like, well, we hear you talk about all these things on your show. Would you like to speak at this event? Shout out to the folks over at TEDx Orlando. And I'm just there like, a TED event? Me? I just run my mouth on the show. I'm glad stuff, but wow. And that particular opportunity opened me up to other events and speaking engagements and panels and stuff like that I would have never expected. But because I had a show and I had a history, and I'm big on archiving what I do in general. So sometimes if people look at our feed, we'll have like new shows and like back in the day shows. The fact people were able to see that you have a consistent record with what you do instead of just saying that, hey, I got a microphone and I just talk and stuff and I got a pretty logo and all that, which is cool. We all want those things. But when people see that you have consistency of what you do, and you kind of can't deny it, even if you like type in FuseBox Radio right now, you'll see a ton of stuff. Yeah. With where we've been and our growth and everything else. And everything built upon stuff from there, I think it just almost helps out with the way technology is now, almost helps out your legitimacy in saying what you do because people can track what you do. Yeah. It's not just you talking and saying, hey, I have a thing. It's like, yes, I really have a thing. And you can see where this thing started, where it is now.
Right. And that's super important right now with so much going on the internet with people selling things that they might not really even have available. Mary, I want to ask you, where are you? Because I can hear the train and there's lots going on. And I'm just curious, what's going on back there?
Right now I am in Southwest DC. I had to run around and do some things today. So in terms of this call, I was hoping to be somewhere quieter when I had a meeting, but no,
I love it.
I'm like, I want to have your time here. So you're hearing things right around the corner from the HUD building and that type of stuff. So we're like right around the corner from Smithsonian and everything.
So you're like you're like in the middle of the DC scene there.
I'm in the middle of literal DC hubbub right now.
Yeah. Well, I want to ask you about that because you mentioned speaking and sort of, as you said, rambling on your show, but you do a lot of speaking and you're very opinionated. You post a lot. you have some opinions. What are you up to in the world? Like, what are you talking about? What's the message that you're sharing sort of in general?
In general, I think it's just for you to be able to express yourself and your views, hopefully in as educated of a way as possible. You can have humor and other stuff with it. But I think ultimately with venues like this, and particularly with the way podcasting has grown, it's just for you to be able to have your niche and your opinion. Like on our show, we talk about everything from politics to pop culture and whatever else just pops into one's brain. And again, I love the term opinionated. People say that so much lately. Sometimes I'm like, is that good or bad? People say I'm opinionated.
I think it's good. I think it's a good thing.
Like there was a time in my life I really just held a lot of stuff in, And I think part of it was just the way society was in terms of, well, you're not necessarily with this diehard group or this diehard group, so you can't say anything. But I'm like, how are you going to be human if you don't have multiple ways of looking at the world and saying different things? As we always say on the show, you don't got to like or agree with anything that we say, but if it sparks some thought and helps you have a conversation about something, then we've done our job as quality media and all of that. So with some of the things we talk about, We definitely get some very interesting feedback sometimes. And sometimes you just gotta be like, I can't please everybody. I'm just saying what's here, what's on my mind. And if you're just there like, I think y'all are crazy as hell, but I like the music, that's cool.
Well, let me ask you this.
If you like the talk and not necessarily the music, that's cool. If you like both, then we're winning.
Yeah. But you said that you weren't always vocal and you didn't always speak out.
No.
What changed? Like what happened there? What was that story?
I think with myself, I've never necessarily fit into popular groups. I was either not, rich enough, poor enough, street enough. I'm educated, but I'm not PhD level in terms of paperwork. I ascribe to certain political philosophies, but I'm not like a die-hard. I'm posting up memes about the stuff every day and telling everybody else that they're stupid. I can try to look at things in multiple directions. I think I spent too much time in my life, especially up to like later teenagehood, trying to please everybody. But when I just started literally opening up and being myself, that's when all these other opportunities literally opened up, where it's like, and it sounds so cliche, but actually being able to embrace that I'm a complex person and other people can take that is cool, And I think a lot of us through different stages of life go through that. If anything, if one had to have any kind of legacy, it'll be there like, you can be yourself, you can grow, and it's okay to have opinions that don't necessarily fit into the status quo. Now, you can hopefully grow and stuff with it, because we've all said things we look back in the day that they're like, wow, that was really ridiculous. I can look at some of the older archives because, it's been about 19 years to be there like, damn, I said some dumb stuff back when I was 21. But I grew though, and that's the point. I think sometimes we hold ourselves back too much trying to please everybody, and sometimes you just got to be you and go with stuff from there. With the show, again, when I just started saying things, I'm just there like, yo, this is what's on my mind. It doesn't fit into point A to point B. It could be something in terms of, I think this song is just okay. It's not horrible. It's not great. It's just okay. To, some of the more political things that can go on in this world, especially, Lord knows, these past like 2 to 3 years.
Yeah, right. Well, Mary, I think that a lot of women listening can really resonate with what you're saying in terms of not, sort of being afraid to use your voice. For many years, people sometimes hide who they really are and they don't speak up. And on the Well Woman Show, we often talk to women who have had that challenge and then overcome that somehow and are now like super vocal and opinionated and out there and showing up and doing something about it. And I just am interested in that process of, how we go from hiding to showing.
I know for everybody, it's a different journey. For myself, it was first just recognizing I do have a voice and my voice has value. Sometimes your voice is not going to be liked or dug by everybody. Sometimes it's not going to be popular, but you do have value as a person. And I wish I could say the easy cliche about how it came about with me. I really can't. Certain things just happened in my life where after I'm just there like, well, damn, I might as well at least use the one, weapon and force that we all have internally, which is being able to express oneself and speak. I could say during this, maybe I could say approximately around the second half of doing the show, like a lot of stuff happened in my life. I graduated during a horrible part of the economy. I graduated around 2001. I was underemployed for a good minute. I went through some friend betrayals. I had family members get sick and die of various stuff and whatever else. And your life can get into hard relief and focus in terms of what do I want to do? Like, I might not be famous. I might never get a whole lot of money. I do like money. If other stuff happens, that's cool. But if something happens to me, what do I want to say about myself at a particular stage of life? And I want to at least be able to be there like I was the best person I could be, and that includes express myself when the chips were down, And overall, I mean, it's been pretty good. It's been pretty good just to be at that part. Like, we might not be able to have a lot of things, but we can sleep well at night. Yeah. We could be a good approach to those people who are around us in our lives. We could try to push lessons onto people where maybe they can go through a little less than what we have gone through. Like, I'm not a parent, but I'm like the cool auntie. I'm the big cousin, all that type of stuff. And I just look at certain things with how these younger generation folks are now. Just like, if you could go through at least a fourth to half less than what I went through, and part of that was because of my own nervousness and insecurities and the false box that society tries to put us in, then, you're kind of winning. And I'm hoping that more people through various venues can do that. Like, I'm very passionate about indie media and stuff like podcasting and more, because that's what helped me out. Yeah. And a lot of stuff is more accessible to people where it's like, yeah, maybe in your neighborhood or your school or your job or whatever else, you might not be able to do certain things. But when it's you and a recording equipment and a mic, we all have the same venue, literally, to distribute our thoughts and to talk and connect with other people. And there's a beauty to that. Like, TV, radio, other things consolidated way earlier than podcasting has even existed. Podcasting is still a pretty big venue. We still all had to go through iTunes, right? Stitcher, those other places. It's actually cheaper now to do things, which is cool. And there's more ways for us to get together. Like, there's these podcast conferences that go on right now. We have the podcast groups. Shout out to the folks over at She Podcast. That's how we connected. Yeah. And everything. And you can find out that there's more people who you can identify with, and that you can grow with, that you're not alone. Yeah. And that in itself is extra value to your voice, on top of what you can hopefully build within you throughout your various ups and downs.
So let me ask you about some of the things you talk about. You talk about racism, sexism, politics, all kinds of things.
I'm a scatterbrain all over the map, gal. Yeah.
Well, no, I just want to ask you, you are opinionated, but what is the difference for you between being opinionated and judgmental?
In terms of being judgmental, like, I personally am the type of person, I don't want to come at everybody that's there like, you're an idiot and you're dumb. People on multiple sides of the political field sometimes do that, and I'm like, that's unproductive. Like, I think being opinionated means not just saying your opinion, but breaking down why you think in this particular way. Right. Give somebody an idea of why this is your train of thought. Now, yeah, sometimes I can be smart ass and just say whatever. But if you ask me about why I think this, I will do my best to break it down to you so you at least know this came from a certain place. And we can go back and forth and, hopefully both sides can learn from each other, at least in terms of how we think. I mean, if you can come to this side, that's cool. If not, it's cool. But you'll know why it is. It's not going to be me being there like, I don't know, Trump is stupid, just as a random statement. I mean, if y'all are on that side, that's cool, Right. But if you're just there like, well, why do you believe that? I'm like, oh, I'll sit down and I will tell you, and I will give you some examples and break it down. But I'm going to have some factual things besides my feelings to break it down.
I want to go into our segment called Superpowers for Success. And I want to ask you a few questions. The first one is, what does success in life mean for you?
Success in life means just achieving whatever goal that you have, big or small, and hopefully being able to help out other people around amongst that way. That's essentially it. It doesn't necessarily have to be attached to like material things or whatever else. I mean, those are nice markers. But ultimately, to me, it's literally just getting by day and, trying to do some good amongst the way. That's it.
Cool. Mm-hmm. And when did you know, Mary, that you were really good at what you do?
Two things. One of them was after my stepfather, may he rest in peace, passed away. I was asked to do a panel, and I ended up having one of my favorite hip hop MCs of all time being on the same panel, Guru Gangstar. And we were talking, went through the regular music industry, rigmarole or whatever. And after, everything was done, he pulled me to the side with like, you talk some really good stuff. That was cool. I'm just there like, you are like been on MTV and VH1 and you're still really cute from when I had a crush on you. And you're so knowledgeable, but I'm just some chick just trying to work a 9 to 5 and I'm still doing my college show and podcasting. And I was really questioning what I was doing at the time. And that was a huge boost for me. May he rest in peace. He passed away a few years ago. And then the other part later in life was what I was talking about earlier with the TED Talk. Because I started to listen to TED Talks at the time, watching the videos. They were getting a lot of promotion and stuff. And just having somebody, when I didn't even ask about a speaking engagement, ask for me to speak, I was just blown away. Like, wow, maybe I'm not insane to still be doing this after a while. Somebody in a different place that I'm not used to thinking about, to think that my voice matters and should be heard by other people. They're flying me out here to talk. I'm nervously putting together a PowerPoint presentation. I'm at this big theater talking, and people who have no idea what the hell I do are like clapping and want to talk about doing other business things or whatever. Like, those are two big things that maybe be there like, okay, I'm still on the right path.
So those are both great examples of external sort of validation, right? From sort of the external saying, validating like what you're doing and who you are. Was there ever a time when you just internally in your heart or in your stomach or wherever in your gut, where you just knew like, this is what I need to be doing?
Internally, I would say, I guess maybe the first few years I was doing the show, because it was something I never thought I would do. I never had in my mindset that I'm going to be a radio DJ and talk a whole bunch of stuff and make people try to like the music that I like and, help out other folks. And then after a while, I'm just like, wow, it's still a thing. And this just feels right. Yes, yeah. I'm getting up late at night and going back late at night to my dorm and not knowing what's going on, but this just feels the way it's supposed to feel. Like, I guess I could explain it. Just very cliche. Just they're like, yes, this is it, and just kept going.
So, yeah. So, Mary, what is your TED Talk? The TED Talk that you referred to, and we'll link to it in the show notes. But can you just tell us briefly what that was?
Sure. My TED Talk from TEDx Orlando in 2012 is called Hip Hop's Not Dead. And essentially what I was talking about was in terms of how hip hop seems to be getting very commercialized and commodified, but essentially like other type forms of music, it still has a voice and a living, and a lot of that is through newer media. So folks can definitely go ahead on YouTube, search for my name and TEDx Orlando or Mary Nichols Hip Hop Dead, and get that. Mm-hmm. All
right, cool. Yeah, we'll do that. And just a few more questions for our segment here. And the next one is, can you describe a personal habit that contributes to your well-being as a woman and as a business owner and everything you do?
One, meditating. I meditate a lot. Sometimes you got to remove yourself from, sounds so stereotypical, to all the stresses of the world and just concentrate on yourself, and sometimes telling yourself to chill. I'm kind of an alpha type with work sometimes, so sometimes I had to tell myself to sit the hell down, and meditation is a part of that. And also sometimes it's blocking out some time for you. Sometimes it's okay to just have, a Netflix binge. It's okay to go out, go shopping, chill out with family, other things, because the work's going to be there, but you still had to be able to maintain mentally, physically, and spiritually to be good to anybody, much less yourself. Sometimes I think through society and other things, we're not told that it's okay to be a woman and relax, be a well woman, literally at the title of your show.
Right.
And taking care of yourself is a part of that, so that's those two major things for me.
That's great. Yeah. I mean, we do talk about that a lot on this show, self-care and also being selfish, which has a negative connotation, but actually it can be a good thing because you do something for yourself. Okay. So what superpower did you discover you had only to realize it was there all the time?
Literally my voice. Literally my voice. Even with my friends, I'm known as the relatively quiet one until there's a topic I'm passionate about, and then I just go in. Everybody who's met me has said that. But my quiet back in the day used to be because I didn't think anybody would care about what I said, or that it had impact on a voice. Like if you almost were quiet, people would accept you more. People accept me more for just running my mouth about how I feel and all that. And I don't know about everybody else, and for me, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. And what advice would you give your 25-year-old self? Or actually, let's do a little younger, since you're in your early 30s. What advice would you give your 20-year-old self?
If you feel that you need to dump somebody, do it as soon as possible, whether it's a friendship, romantic relationship, or whatever else, especially if they're insecure about what you're doing and how you're trying to grow and express yourself. I definitely got stuck in some situations back then that were not cool at all, and just gave me unnecessary stress. Also, you don't necessarily always have to be the stereotypical nice girl or nice woman. Sometimes stuff isn't good. You gotta be here look, this might be harsh right now, but it's better to just say this and nip stuff in the bud instead of letting things drag on, All
right. So Mary, last couple of questions. On the Well Woman Show, we talk a lot about working for political, economic, and social equality, which is a definition of feminism. Do you identify as a feminist?
In its purest form, yes. Feminism is a very fraught term right now, to say the least, for multiple reasons. But feminist/womanist, I guess, is the way I would describe myself. We need to have all of those things. Equality between different parts of humanity shouldn't even be a question in the 2010s. But yet we're still here right now, and we still have to fight for it. I think the main issue right now with feminism, at least here in the States sometimes, is that people don't want to acknowledge that there's an economic and a racial component to that as well, and that has to be addressed within those means. But I guess overall I would say I'm a woman/feminist. Sure.
Okay. And last question, Mary, what are you reading right now? What's on your nightstand?
What's on my nightstand is a bunch of comic books. I had to catch up on comicsology because that's part of my chilling out, is reading comics. And recently I've been revisiting some books. I'm revisiting a book called Black Marxism. And I am revisiting, excuse me, the Tao Te Ching that I ascribe to Buddhism. And then just a whole bunch of internet. We all read on the internet and all that. So.
Yeah. All right, cool. I'm so happy you were able to join us for the show, Mary.
Thank you for having me. This has been a pleasure.
Yeah, it's so good to talk to you.
That's it for our show today. Remember, if you need support to live your Well Woman life, head over to wellwomanlife.com/Facebook to join us. Our monthly live event, Well Woman Drinks, brings women together to share our successes and challenges as women, leaders, moms, aunts, sisters, and all the other roles we carry. If you'd like to attend a Well Woman Drinks near you, or if there isn't one in your city yet and you'd like to start one, email info@wellwomanlife.com. If you enjoyed the show, please take a moment and subscribe in iTunes and leave a review. This helps raise visibility, which is super helpful when it comes to producing the show every week. For feedback, comments, or just to let me know you were listening today, find me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram @WellWomanLife. I'm Giovanna Rossi for The Well Woman Show. Until next time, have a super powerful week.